Getting to order. As soon as I get smart here. Let's give a roll call. You can go first.
Andrew Benjamin here. I don't remember how we did this last time.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah. Herschel Lamran.
And
Mr. Tom Rosser is absent.
correct.
Okay. Approval of minutes from the December 4th, 13th, 2023 meeting. Do I hear a motion to pass them?
I'll move.
I'll second that. All in favor say aye. Aye. Unopposed, passes. Okay, this is where we need our executive director because I think he's got a report on a pass-through amount of money, so.
I do. You all get my monthly update, so I won't rehash that since you've already seen it. What I do want to talk about is the activity on the program. And in 2023, we did 5 loans all the way through funding. We've already put 3 loans through funding in 2024. And as you can see, we have another 18 loans that are in anywhere between reservation to pooled. And reservation is when the lender says, we want to do this deal. Then it goes to underwriting certification, it gets approved. E-housing does compliance, and then it gets purchased by the servicer and finally put into a pool. So when it passes those 5 stages, it goes into investor trustee. But to go from doing 5 in a year to 18 in 3 months, I think, plus 3, so really 21 is trending in the right direction. I would love to take credit for that and tell you that it's because we're out knocking on lender doors and doing things.
It is because he's doing that. Number one, you got a great program and you're investing in these loans, but number 2, it says work with your lenders. So that you can take credit for that.
The absent gentleman, Tom Rosser, has really got Gateway on fire about this program. I mean, in one day they registered 6 loans, so they are really jumping on it. I went to Kirkpatrick Bank. We had a lender training with them. Bank of Oklahoma called me, and I was telling Mark at lunch. They said, "You're the program that's out of money, right?" I said, "No, we've never been out of money." So they're jumping back on board, and I think what's happening is where maybe Ed was better by far at the back end side of this than I am. I know a couple of lenders, so knocking on the doors has been easier for me. So we're starting to get a lot of traction from lenders and realtors. As you've seen in the monthly reports, we've had seminars in lots of places. The next big deal coming up is April the 3rd. There's going to be a statewide seminar at here in Oklahoma City, and it's going to have neighborhood housing services, Midwest Cities Housing Program, Community Action, Mortgage MCC from Tulsa, the Federal Home Loan Bank Board, REI, the Housing State Agency, the City of Edmond, and us. We all get as a panel. All 8 of us are going to address probably 300 realtors and or lenders out at Metro Tech. So that should get us a lot of traction. And it's pretty easy to go sell what we have. As Herschel, you know, some months ago we made a decision that we were okay not making any money on these deals and maybe even losing a little bit of money. So when I go out and talk to a lender, my typical conversation is, "What's your par rate on a loan?" And they'll say 6 1/4, and I'll answer, "How'd you like to do them at 5 3/8 at par?"
That
Making
gets their
2
attention.
points. It's an easy product to sell. We can't do that forever, as Mark and I discussed at lunch, but hopefully we can for a little while longer. And I think maybe what we do when we talk about it, as we get more of this traction and they're more using us and we're more their first thought to their last thought in terms of down payment assistance, we might start ratcheting those rates up a bit where we're not losing quite as much on each one. So that's
where the market gets better.
Or the market gets better.
Do we look forward to that?
I sure hope so, Mr. Chairman, board members. I would give Mr. Faisal a lot of credit for this activity. Most TBA programs like this are slow. Ever since the Fed started raising rates, the forward delivery market for loans and mortgage-backed securities went down in the drain, really. And so a lot of loans that haven't had a loan in several, programs that haven't had a loan in several months. You got 6 in 1 week from Gateway.
One day.
Yeah, okay, in 1 day. One of my back office people said, "Is this real? What's happening in Oklahoma County?" They hadn't seen it. Because we've had days when we've had tens of millions in a week when the program was better back in the teens, right? But this hadn't happened. So
You think we ought to keep him around?
I think you made the right choice. So no, anyway, no, well, we hope and expect the market gets better whenever the Fed starts lowering rates. That'll improve the TBA market a lot. This is all forward delivery. If somebody thinks rates are going to stay higher, go higher, they don't want to buy a Ginnie Mae at a certain rate 90 to 120 days in the future once they think rates are stable or maybe going down. And they say, okay, I'm back in this game. So the program will get better. Your mortgage products will get better. But right now you're subsidizing each loan, but you're making loans. So that's great.
And again,
Congratulations.
I think as we're more and more the first thought instead of the second or third thought on their DPA list, and most of our deals are being registered without DPA. Lenders have figured out that you can do our program and go someplace like Neighborhood Action or Community Action or Neighborhood Housing Community Action and get their DPA and get the best of both worlds. And we're fine with that as long as the DPA provider is fine with it. That's their call, not ours. It's their down payment assistance. But
What's the state doing right now?
well, they just had their meeting this morning.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, they're doing a steady, slow and steady. They're doing tax-exempt bonds, which actually are a little better execution. Your product is as good or better than theirs most days. But they're doing tax-exempt bonds, and we had talked a while back, why don't you all do bonds now? The bonds are a little better. It would probably take close to about $1 million to put in to get a bond program going for a local HFA, which you'd get it back, but it's a lot of money to commit, right? So we're not coming to you and saying, we can do it for almost nothing. We'd probably say, hey, let's do a bond program, but TBA is still your best execution right now. But the state is slow and steady and doing loans in Tulsa and Oklahoma County and around the state. And we just did a $60 million bond issue for them in December, I guess that closed. And they'll probably be doing another one about 2 months from now. So they're serving the whole state and doing pretty well.
What is their DPA program?
Basically the same as yours.
Same as ours.
3.5%. It's a soft second. It gets paid back, right? Yours is actually right now a grant.
Yeah.
You're giving that money away. You have a 5% DPA and 3.5%. They've discontinued the 5% just because it's so tough to do in this market. You all some days do have it with your contribution to the program. So they're doing fine. There's also another issuer down in Durant who goes statewide too. REI,
Who's that?
Rural Enterprise.
Yeah.
The Rural Enterprise Incorporated, Dina Sherrill,
Was that Glenn Floyd's old program back in the day?
a long time ago. Yep.
I think this is great and it's good to see these numbers. I don't know what the process is, but the website needs to be updated. I tried to show it to someone and they definitely told me that I was trying to sell them a scam. And so I know that the rest of the county websites, have someone that works on it. I don't know if that's like a process that we request that, but like to your point that we should be the first place, that's not even happening because we're not even search engine optimized. So like, I think we need to figure out a way to update the website, make it a little bit more user friendly, make it look less 1996 and scammy. Because I think if we're in the community talking to people and then we give them the website.
No sugarcoating.
Yeah, I mean, so that when we're sharing the information
Great
with people, that they do not think that we're leading them down a path towards them losing all of their housing assistance or their down payment. So again,
you're right.
yeah,
I had
so-
a discussion with Commissioner Bloomer about that exact subject.
good.
And asked if there was county resources. I think there are some and there aren't some.
Okay.
We may have to go to the third party to do that.
Okay.
And there's actually somebody that is a member of my civic club that does that.
Okay. I also have a good
And I'm
website person.
Good. I'm gonna visit with him. I'm gonna talk to High Five Media, who has done some other sites I've been involved with. Right now, that's a page that is done not by the county, not by us.
Okay.
It's by one of our third-party sources, and it has participating lenders on it who aren't even in business anymore.
Okay,
On the
yeah.
Participating lender list.
Why
But
don't
you're
you-
right, it needs updating.
Why don't you see that David gets the
Yeah,
group?
please
Yeah,
email
I'll
me
send
who
you-
it is.
yeah, I
and
think we
will
should.
definitely reach
Again,
out
I don't
to
know
you.
the process, but for other things, it sounds like we get a couple different bids. People say what's going to cost. They can show us their work, and then we can decide on one. But I just think like, I was like really explaining to someone, they were like, I'm not clicking that. And I was like, no, it's real. They were like, I don't think so. And I was like, all right.
What I would like to see us be able to do is get it developed, even if by a third-party source, and then see if the county can host it for us as
Okay.
opposed to an independent
Yeah.
host source. And if they can't, that's okay. I mean, High Five is $219 a month for
Okay.
what another organization I'm involved with
Okay.
pays, and we get a few hours of coding time each month with that.
Okay.
If we get host it with the county, I'm sure we can get it much cheaper.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
I'm glad you said that, Professor, because I had not been on that website in a couple of years, but
If you want to chuckle and you want to feel like it's 1996 GeoCities, you can. And that's
It's
what it looks like.
retro.
It's a picture of a page and
It's-
2 links you can click, basically.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
It's
yes,
not
it's
Friends episode going on.
Maybe. I would say it was before the 1990s, but then that wouldn't exist because it's still the internet. So you have to be honest about the timing. But yeah, but still, these numbers look good, and I'm glad that we are getting the word out about this good opportunity. So
That's all I have for my report. Do you guys want to continue to get the monthly ones? That was a John Pettis thing, but I think they at least help you see what we're doing. And
I like getting them personally.
Okay, I'll continue to do them.
I send
That's a
weekly
voice
report
out.
once a month. I send a weekly report to them too, about the first of the month.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I
But
like
that,
getting
that's
them.
just giving you a snapshot from last week. But
Yeah, mine looks at who we've called on, what places we've been,
Okay.
things like that.
Very helpful.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Let's go down to departmental items. Discussion for the election of the chair and the vice chair for 2024, which we're already in. So we need a new chair. This chair is willing to relinquish the chair. We have two other trustees that could serve.
Are you willing?
Sure. I do wish our other person was here.
Tom is willing, I suppose.
If Tom wants to move into chairman, I could do vice chair.
Oh, that would be perfect.
That sounds good to me.
And that would be perfect. Tom, thank you.
I would check the minutes and be like, I did not.
He said happy, he said he'd be willing.
So what he gets for not being.
This is a classic example of it not being.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
You're not here, you get appointed to
That's
step.
exactly
What
right.
happens more
That's why
often
we
than
need
you
a
think.
strong vice
Can
chair.
we take that just as one motion?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I do think, in some regard, with his lending knowledge that he has and the lenders that he knows, it really has shown me that it wasn't a shortcoming of his, but knowing those lenders and being able to go out and do that and say, hey, here's what we do, Tom can do that because he knows as many lenders as I do.
That doesn't put him in a compromising position, does it?
No. It,
We have many board members and chairs who are in the more.
Oh, okay.
I mean, when I was chairman,
Lingo.
I always did state deals just because I didn't want there to be
Yeah.
a conflict of interest or even a suggestion of it. I did do some county deals with Motley State. Tom actually Gateway pays them less on the deals they're doing through us than if they did them anywhere else. So if anything, he's leaving income on the table. So he's okay with it, and Gateway's identified for them it's not a conflict as long as it's not for us.
Okay. We need to make sure from now on they provide us with cherry or raspberry.
That's some.
That's just not fair.
You mean like this one, Herschel?
WG.
But let's just agree that the best lifesaver flavor is buttered rum.
Ooh.
And
that
they
is
don't
a
always
good one.
have that, but that is the best flavor.
Red is good too.
Okay.
Always like butterscotch too.
Both guys are good.
Do you, would you like to make that motion?
My party motion is chair.
I'll second that.
Weedy.
Yeah. Okay, well, we've got, do we need to go through any formality on the,
Yes,
Yeah,
you gotta
I
vote
need
Need
on
you
to
to make
have the
a,
vote.
yeah, I need you to make a formal motion stating who you want as chair and vice chair, and then we can call for the vote.
Yeah.
After you get a second.
I think they're asking you to call for it, I'll second it.
well,
I mean, it makes,
well, okay, but normally
Okay.
the chair
Oh,
can make a motion.
Okay,
it's fine.
I'll move to elect Tom as the chairman and me, Andrea Benjamin, as the vice chairman.
Okay,
I'll second the motion.
All right,
Aye.
is all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect.
Well, Madam Vice Chair,
Yes.
you're in charge.
I'm in Well, I'm gonna turn it over to Jared for item number 4 under departmental items.
Yep. So as you guys know, we've kind of been talking about, we got some reallocated federal funds from the last ERA tranche. We've kind of been working diligently to see how CFO CCP was going to utilize kind of the remainder of our funds. Now that the rental assistance program has kind of formally been collapsed. They've been doing larger grants for legal aid services, housing support, kind of all of those things. They think they have enough money that is kind of already in their set-asides to fulfill all of their obligations on that standpoint. And so that left us with just about $500,000 out of our last allocation of what we could do. And so David and I were contacted by City of Edmond, by the City of Edmond, and they have they've kind of run their own home funds or HUD programs kind of through the city, and utilized the Hope Center of Edmond kind of as their screening and compliance partner. And so what they're proposing is, really going back to offering some of that emergency rental assistance, some eviction protection services, as well as maybe helping fund some improvements for transitional and supportive housing. So those are all 3 eligible uses under the ERA FAQs. I was unable to be on the conference call, but David was on the conference call with kind of the one hurdle I would say that we have to this is making sure that we don't double count recipients that may have received ERA funds. So there's an 18-month limit on the amount that individual households can receive assistance. And so we think we figured out the solution basically without identifying, sensitive information. We can identify what households have received assistance within the Edmond city limits, and we can make sure they just don't go above kind of that 18-month threshold. So other than that, it sounds like they've got all of the reporting stuff that we need from our end in place. And so we're kind of asking for your approval to go ahead and move forward with allocating those dollars to City of Edmond, and then executing a contract with them to provide those dollars. The big timeline here is all of those dollars have to be expended by September 30, 2025, so about 18 months from now. They don't think it will take them that long to spend it, but we still think we're probably about another month and a half or so before they're actually accepting applications and getting dollars out the door, just with their timing process with their city council.
What department in the city of Edmond is handling this?
I think it's the planning and community engagement part. So they've got Kristen Battenfield is her name, is our contact, and she's kind of the community engagement liaison. I'm not sure what her specific title is, but she's kind of been the designated point person for all of City of Edmond's federal funds that they've had so far. And she seems very knowledgeable and more important, willing to undertake the burden of the federal compliance side of things.
Do we need a motion on this?
Yes. I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
So I just want to be clear though, this money is going to expire
Yes.
September 25th, is it September 2025?
Yeah.
But there was no formal opportunity for other entities to apply to get this 500,000.
So we opened it up. We did not put out a formal RFP process. No. Basically, what we've done since last August is we went to individual nonprofits that had received money prior through the CFO kind of portal. And the CFO portal was kind of our designated state entity that we all contracted with to administer applications and housing support and all that kind of stuff. So we went to about 10 or 15 different nonprofits, and they said, you know what, we've got enough on our plate. We've got enough money that we think that we're going to handle. And as we thought the money was all winding down, they'd already let people go, kind of from their administrative support like positions. And so they didn't want to have to go back and hire a temporary spot for what might only take them, a month or a month and a half to run through, an allocation of funds.
Okay, so there won't be any sort of pushback from anyone that felt like they could have used this money, but they didn't have the opportunity to request it?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, like I said, we've been kind of round and round with, folks that had participated in the original programs, and again, everybody was like, you know what, we've done enough of that federal compliance reporting.
We're pretty limited in incorporated communities of Edmond's size.
Yeah.
That could actually do this.
Yeah. And that's good background, Herschel, is we designated our funds as basically everything outside, first run everything outside of City of Oklahoma City limits. Because Oklahoma City got such a large allocation themselves, we didn't want to, kind of double up, kind of let some of our bedroom communities, smaller communities kind of have access, to those programs. So,
It's pretty limited.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve this use of funds?
I move we approve the allocation of $500,000.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'm like, I think that's gonna be in my first half meeting as chair, vice chair. Okay. And then, can you stick with you, Jared, on discussion item number 5?
So this one is a relatively new one. We were approached by North Care, which is the North Oklahoma County Mental Health Association. They want to apply, basically to run, should back up. They have already applied and been selected to be the operator of a couple of MAPS 4 projects, namely the Restoration Center and thank you, and some of the other, the diversion hub, like a lot of those things that kind of center around mental health. So MAPS 4 they've also put out an RFP for for transitional housing for a mental health purpose. That RFP, as originally crafted, requires a governmental lead, I guess you would say. And so what we've kind of talked about as a framework is, just like we've done with the ERA, program, we can be the governmental lead, but we would essentially delegate the mental health aspect of it to our third-party partner, which in this case would be North Care, to provide those services, but still meet the responsiveness as required by the RFP for MAPS. What we think how we got here is they used an RFP for some affordable housing things from about a year or so ago, where they wanted to develop more affordable housing through the Oklahoma City Housing Authority. The Oklahoma City Housing Authority said, look, we were successful in that RFP and we got awarded a big chunk of money with a lot of mandates and things to work through. We don't have time to be kind of the governmental partner on this project too. And so we received an email, and David and I met with Connie Schlittler, who is the Vice President of Growth for North Care, and thought that we might be able to come to some, basically seek your blessing to move forward with developing a proposal. The proposal isn't actually due, I think now until right around the 1st of May. If I'm remembering right, the deadline has been extended because we think it's written in such a way it's kind of pigeonholed, who can actually apply. And so they went to the county, a couple of the commissioners, and the commissioners said, hey, OCHFA might be a great partner, to do that. And it also kind of gives us a chance to utilize county's grant writing position to kind of help fund some admin support things that we can apply for with our own applications for, home funds or HUD funds, to help kind of bring some additional continuity to the program. So David and I, like I said, we met last week, and don't see any issues. We don't think it's going to be a huge administrative burden, on our part, to be able to undertake it, and kind of gives us another face in the community.
Yeah, they're essentially ready. They just need us to be the governmental entity to receive formally the funds.
Conduit.
Yep, exactly.
They're an excellent program.
Yeah, I mean, one thing you should all know, and this would not change anything, but I am the board president of North Care right now.
They're a lousy
They
program.
are.
For leadership.
So I just want you to be aware of that. I have nothing to do with them making this application. I feel like I should tell you that, and they did not consult me about COVID, which kind of makes me mad. They didn't call me and ask me, hey, would OCH if they'd be willing to do this in the first place? So, but I just feel like I should tell you that before you vote on it, and ask any questions.
And I would tell you from the meeting, she was exceptionally well prepared. It was a short meeting because she already knew what she was doing. And it didn't take much to convince either of us. But I was very confident in their ability to offer this, to follow through with it, and most importantly, to not put an administrative burden on us because they already had all their ducks in a row on that side, was how I left the meeting.
That's right.
I don't even think it lasted 15 or 20 minutes. It was a pretty short meeting.
Can I get a motion to approve this item?
Do we need a motion? So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Go ahead.
I don't see any citizens here, so I don't think we have to do that. Is there any new business that we could not have known about, which we want to bring up
Do
today?
you think that our great council kind of looks like Steve Kornacki?
I'll wait until we have to adjourn. We can definitely discuss that, but any new business for this body?
Only thing I would have on new business is to kind of get, and it sounds like you're okay, but to kind of get the board's blessing that if the county can't do the website for us, that I don't want to go out and seek a third-party source and have somebody come back and go, no, we're not going to fund that. That's not what we're going to do. So certainly anything before we spent money would have to come to be approved. But in general terms, if the opinion is, yes, we want a different website, then I will jump on that. And if the county can't, then we'll see what we can do in third-party providers.
I think
I
that's
think they can just
important.
tell you. I don't think,
Yeah, I don't think we have to have a
I would not
motion.
be aware.
Yeah.
If the county could or not. So just-
Yeah, I think, like I said, sort of thinking about next steps, other things I've done is sort of, let's get some quotes. I don't think we're asking for anything, fancy, just that the information is there, that it looks current, so people are not worried about it. And then, first steps to see what the county can do. And then second steps is to have a couple different companies submit bids about what it would cost to make the website and what it would cost to maintain the website. And then we can decide from there what we think long-term that budget expenditure would look like. And if we're willing to make that investment, then I think that the three of us would.
Totally
voted up or
agree
not.
with that.
So-
And I would like to see if we can make it where, when you're on the county's website, it's got elected officials and everything else, and it does have some mention of us, but it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
That can be a link that can take us to the
Who's
website.
our audience?
It is lenders and it is borrowers. I'm getting about as many calls from borrowers that are hearing about us through the realtors now than anybody else. And the problem is, other than saying, hey, go talk to Tom Rosser, one of our participating lenders, and I never just refer one lender ever. It's always at least two. That there's just not an easy place for the public, as you saw, to go navigate this and figure out what it is and what it does, and how to reach a participating lender, what the program guidelines are, et cetera.
I don't think it's gonna open up some sort of like run on like 1 million people applying, because to your earlier points, the lender still has to be willing to do it. Your realtor has to be willing, so there's still hurdles, but just even as my job as a trustee to try to be explaining it to someone and they're thinking I'm full of it, that's a problem. So I'm not saying that we're going to be, making Facebook ads and trying to, but just that the information is there, that it's accessible, that it looks current, so that even if you are a buyer and you bring it to your realtor is also not like, this doesn't look real. No, when that client could in fact have been eligible. So that's my idea of who we're trying to outreach to.
Might as well.
Yeah.
I think real. Perhaps board member goes first.
No.
I was gonna.
So I apologize. I think in order for us to, if I'm not mistaken, have deep discussion on this, it would have to be an agenda item.
Okay. All right. Okay. For the next meeting then.
Yeah, so
But I think you can give him the direction.
Okay. Yeah. Can we
Just to-
find out from the county?
Yeah.
Get some
I will.
bids.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
And Oklahoma HFA, for example, has a website, so you all may might take a look at that too.
Oh,
just to
yeah.
know
Oh, yeah.
what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
And I see realtors as a very important group of folk that might access this.
they are, I mean, if website separate, if the consumer or the realtor understands the program and they start their search process believing that down payment assistance or a mortgage credit certificate is what they want to do to help them get their housing, that can dictate what lender it goes to. If lender A doesn't want to do that program, then lender B does. And I actually talked to a loan officer that reported to me when I was at bank two and said, why aren't you guys doing these things? And his answer was, I don't make enough money. Those aren't the kind of lenders we want in the program. And
Well, I
it's
think-
always a lender's choice, but there's lots of lenders out there. There's lots of realtors out there. And if we reach the consumer first, then that helps even more.
I'm not so sure consumers are our target, but I do know that my opinion is that realtors definitely, that's probably our first opportunity to get a hold of a consumer. And I think that's, as opposed just to sending them to a mortgage company, offering them knowledge, which is, you might want to try this.
Well, this will be an agenda item when we see each other in July, May, June? Let me take a look. Okay, sorry.
May 15th, I think, is the next OHFA board meeting. You have it tied to that. I don't know if you do.
We try to.
July.
So we have July.
Okay, yeah.
July.
So when we see each other in July, and David, I can email you, and I'll get some
Okay.
estimates. Yep. Okay. Awesome. I move to adjourn this meeting.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
All right. Now to your question. Yes,
Madam Vice
he
Chair.
does.
he does